I'm really happy to be part of the Education Committee, particularly with its emphasis on the workforce. As you may know, since Indiana adopted its right-to-work legislation in 2012, we were the 23rd state in the country to adopt that. Since that time, we've seen a nearly 15% increase in manufacturing employment, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Meanwhile, during the same time frame, non-right-to-work states raised their manufacturing employment by a mere 0.5%. Mr. Mix, a majority of states have passed right-to-work laws. As you know, these laws provide workers with the freedom to choose how to spend their hard-earned paychecks. Indiana's increase in manufacturing employment after becoming a right-to-work state proves companies are more interested in operating in right-to-work states. Why do companies so highly value states with right-to-work laws?
Yeah, Congressman, thank you for the question. And Indiana is kind of interesting because Michigan and Indiana, the two states that passed right-to-work laws in 2012, led the nation for the next 2 years in manufacturing job growth. And it's really benefited Indiana. And really, there's been no question about the benefit to Indiana. Union officials object to it, obviously, because they can't compel people to pay dues or fees to get to keep their jobs. But as I mentioned earlier in my testimony, when you look at site selection criteria and folks that are consulting in that issues, I think the Fantas Company, one of the largest site selection relocation companies in the world, said that 50% of all their clients say we're not going to go to a right-to-work state or a state that doesn't have a right-to-work law. So the benefit from a manufacturing standpoint is demonstrable at this point. I mean, there's no question about that. And for whatever reason that they may go, based on the answer to the last question, I mean, right to work is part of that equation. And that means that they can have this relationship with their employees, talk to them directly. And most of the time, if an employer is not taking care of their employees, guess what? They'll get a union. They'll deserve a union. But employers these days understand, as Congressman Allen indicated, that employers have to go find their workers now, and they have to take good care of them. I mean, they have to take care of wages and benefits and be competitive. You know, only 6% of the private sector workforce in America today is unionized. And that's not because they don't have the ability to unionize. It's because, as Gallup said, 58% of non-union employees have no interest whatsoever in joining a union. And certainly the American people oppose force and compulsion.
Thank you. I remember during the debates on right to work in Indiana, there were shouts of the sky is falling. It's going to be terrible. There were scare tactics claiming the death of the unions were yet to come. The sky did not fall in Indiana. Unions still exist in Indiana and right to work states. And as you said, if it provides a good benefit, people would want to voluntarily join for their own benefits. I've heard opposing arguments saying that employees in right-to-work states are paid less, receive fewer benefits than employees in similar states that are not right-to-work, but I've not seen that to be the case in my home state. Have you found that to be accurate in other states?
Yeah, we have. As I mentioned previously, when you overlay a cost of living index on wages, you find out that workers in right-to-work states have at least $3,000 more in disposable income per capita in the states that allow for a worker to choose whether or not to join or pay dues to a union.
And the Biden administration has issued numerous decisions that undermine employee free choice and strengthen labor unions' ability to force representation on unwilling workers. I just don't believe it should be compulsory. I'm not anti-union. I just don't think people should be forced to. I was a state employee in Indiana before Mitch Daniels took away the ability for public sector unions. And they often spent my dues on political campaigns for ideologies that I disagreed with. So I don't think that folks should have to spend their hard-earned money for compulsory dues, particularly when those dues support political positions and parties and candidates whose policies go against their own values. The arguments made by some of our Democrat colleagues against right-to-work laws in many cases just aren't true. Despite Indiana being a right-to-work state, we still have unions. Wages are up, jobs are up, and so it doesn't make unions go away. It just simply provides employee choice. I'm a proud supporter and co-sponsor of the national right-to-work legislation in this Congress. I've seen firsthand the positive effects of it in my own home state. Happy to support it. Thank you to Mr. Wilson for bringing it forward. Thank you to the witnesses. Give you the last word, Mr. Mitch.
Yeah, if I could, and that's an important fact you make. We believe that right-to-work laws hold union officials accountable. When workers can vote with their pocketbooks about whether or not they want to support a union, when they're out playing politics or doing things that have nothing to do with the shop floor, but everything to do with what's happening in Indianapolis or Washington, D.C. or Sacramento or Jefferson City or Tallahassee or Columbia, wherever they are, it would focus them on the shop floor because that's where they have to be accountable. And right-to-work laws allow workers to hold union officials accountable in the workplace.
Thank you. I yield back.